Oh, man, come on, get it. Hurry. Oh, damn, what is this? What is going on? Just go back. Yeah, that's more like it. This is the Short Sports Show with your host, Daniel Short. Oh, really? That's what I'm going to get? Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016. And I know what you're thinking. Whoa. The Short Sports Show is only on Wednesdays. What are you doing? You're changing it all up again? No, I'm not. This is only just for this week, as obviously Texas high school football has started. Camps have opened up, and I am on the coaching staff. I'm here at my local high school, San Marcos High School, and I am an intern at obviously at San Marcos, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. It's a lot to learn. I'll be on the defensive side of the ball, so I'm excited, and it's obviously things are a little bit changing, but we will have our normal Wednesday shows. That's not going to change even throughout the season. The only thing is just this week we had some meetings, and I can't miss tomorrow's meeting. So that is why we are doing the show today and having it up. So no worries, nothing's changing, but there are a few changes. Now, last week I said this was going to be the first show in 4K, and I was expecting to have the show in 4K. Sad part about it is for my computer didn't really want to work. No, it's just not strong enough for 4K just yet. So if you support the show on Patreon, that would help me out a lot, so I can go ahead and get that iMac computer, and 4K will be bam, just like that. No, but it's fine. Hopefully, if y'all could, that'd be nice. It'd be nice if y'all could, do it here at 4K, but if y'all could support the show. But if not, it's all good. You listening to the show is good enough for me. Anyway, so we have a pretty good amount of news to talk about for college football, the NFL, and that's really it. That's all we're going to be covering today. There wasn't a whole lot on the NBA side, and I'm kind of working on some things, but some new changes to the show is what you'll see on YouTube is we got new layouts. We got some new layouts that I'm working with, some new designs, and like I said, if you've been following me on Twitter at Short Sports Show, you will see I'm introducing two new segments. I guess you could say, they'll be their own thing. I can't get too specific into it right now, but I will tell you it's going to be exciting. I'm loving the design process right now. I'm loving getting everything together. One is going to be strictly football. Again, that's going to be with the NFL and college football, and it is going to be here pretty soon. That's for sure. It'll be YouTube exclusive. You won't hear it anywhere else other than YouTube. And I'm super excited for it. That's coming out here pretty soon once the football season gets kicked off here. We'll be doing that. And then we have one for the basketball season. As my contract with Broadband TV and the NBA, I'm creating a brand new type of show with it. Now, these, will just be on YouTube, and they won't be an actual show like this is. It's just going to be things that are happening throughout the week and some other twists and turns of greatness that's going to be a part of the show. So I'm super excited. We might even have a co-host or a brand new host to one of the shows I'm looking into. So again, I'm just blessed and excited about this process that's happening. I'm taking it one day at a time, and I'm loving it, how it's all coming together. And it's all thanks to you guys, seriously. Your support, just listening to the show is where it's why everything's coming together. And I truly do appreciate it, and just all the support you guys have given me and the show. So again, thank you so much. We'll get it started now. We'll get it started with the show. It's already been about 4 minutes into this. I haven't even started the show. So let's go ahead and get on with it. And we will start off with some college football news. And an interesting matchup has now come together. Starting in 2023, I know, such a long time. Oregon and Texas Tech have scheduled a home-and-home series, which the first game in 2023 will be in Lubbock, and then in 2024, it'll go back to Eugene. And this, if everything is how we picture it right now and it moves on, if Tech continue to have a pretty good offense and Oregon the same thing, this should be a really interesting matchup. And again, I'm with you. I wish it was sooner. especially if it was like this year. This would be fun to see Dakota Prukop, who should be the starting quarterback for Oregon, going against Patrick Mahomes and Texas Tech's offense. Both terrible defenses going at it. No, but the offenses will be exciting to watch. And that's why I wish it was this season, or, I know obviously they couldn't schedule it this season, but had it been sooner, it would have been an awesome matchup. And hopefully in 2023 and 2024, it will be another good matchup, because this is very interesting and should be very fun to watch. Moving on, we also have some really good news. Now, you guys have known when we broke the news, we didn't really break the news. We talked about it a lot. When in Tennessee, there's a high school in Tennessee, and I forgot the high school name of it, Fulton High School. Zaevion Dobson, he won the Courage Award here at ESPN, and that was awesome, and a person who should be rewarded for courage got it. And I think we all know the story of Zaevion Dobson, but in case you don't, he was a high school football player in Knoxville who was shot to death last year while shielding 2 girls from gunfire. He took the shots and it costed him his life, but he sacrificed his life for those 2 girls, and those 2 girls are both alive and living well. And so it touched a lot of people, especially me. I mean, reading the story when I was first reading it, I broke down. It was sad. It was courageous. It was just, you wish he made it through. And so with all of this, it got through to everybody. And ESPN then this year, just last month at the ESPYs, they gave him the Courage Award. Now Tennessee safety from the Vols, Todd Kelly Jr., is switching his uniform number from 6 to 24, which Zaevion Dobson wore during high school. Kelly said after Monday's practice, quote, "I felt like it was my duty to represent him. It's nothing about me. It's all about him. I'm just trying to represent him any way I possibly can." And I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad he did it. I joke around, and I'm sometimes hard on Tennessee, the Vols, but I'm glad Todd Kelly Jr. did this. And I have tremendous respect for him to do this, because this, again, it was such... I don't know, something about it just got to me, other than just, some people might have just been like, yeah, that's sad, but hey, he did the right thing, right? And then they move on. Something about it, just, sticks to me. And so, again, Dobson wore 24 at Fulton High School, and I'm just glad. Now, Kelly did switch from 6 to 24, and defensive back Darrell Miller wore 24 for Tennessee last season, and Miller agreed to change his number to 15, so that way Kelly can now wear 24. So that's very nice of both of them to do that, make it happen, and Todd Kelly Jr. Hopefully can just, play his normal play, get better, and also represent Zaevion Dobson in the best way. So I absolutely loved it. Of course, I had to include that here in the show. And again, respect to Todd Kelly Jr. for doing that. Some other sad news. I promise we're going to get into some positive news here. The family of former Colorado head coach Bill McCartney said in a statement Monday morning that McCartney is suffering from late onset dementia and Alzheimer's, which sucks. Now, I just watched about maybe 2 months ago the ESPN 30 for 30. Now I forgot the name of it. It's on Netflix. If you just look it up, look for Colorado, and you'll see him on there. I had always thought, and I said it before when that week of the show that I watched it, I thought it was a basketball movie, and that's why I never even touched it. But then I saw it was about football, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. I watch all the ESPN 30 for 30s on football. And so I watched it, and I absolutely loved it. Loved everything about it, and have tremendous respect for Bill McCartney. And so to hear this... back to a low, man. It sucks. His family asked that, quote, "We are making this public to ask for your understanding and patience, as we know that as he frequently runs into fans, friends, and former players. This is frustrating and confusing disease, and if he appears disconnected or unknowing, please don't take it personally." And end quote. So good job by the family to say that. So fans or younger fans or whatever are like, whoa, what's going on? This is what it is. And a little bit about him, in case you didn't watch it or haven't seen, and it's not giving anything away, it's just his stats. From 1982 to 1994, McCartney compiled a 93-55-5 record, coaching the Buffaloes to a share of the 1990 national championship. They finished number 1 in the AP poll, while Georgia Tech finished number 1 in the coaches poll. Now, Colorado won the Big 8 conference titles in 1989, 1990, and 91. And in 1989, he was named the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as a part of the 2013 class. And I hope he can just fight through as much as he possibly can. Because, again, tremendous respect for him. And hope prayers go out to him and his family. Hopefully they can just fight this and be strong all the way through it. Now, speaking of Netflix, just last week on Friday, a interesting mini-series, if you want to call it, came out. It was called Last Chance U. Now, I knew it was about JUCO, and I've been hearing about it like 2 weeks before it came out. I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. Watched the trailer. I was like, man, this should be fun to watch. It's about East Mississippi Community College. Now, the story takes place, if you haven't seen it already, it takes place, it's Last Chance U, and it's a 6-part documentary series that dropped Friday on Netflix. Now, it is binge-worthy because this is coming from the guy who apparently had nothing else to do and lost track of time. I sat and watched the entire 6 episodes all the way through in one sitting. That's like, they're each 52 to 55 minutes, and this guy sat through and watched all 6 hours of this show all the way through. 1, because it was that good. 2, I really did lose track of time. I had other things to do. I promise you, I did. Just forgot. I watched it early in the afternoon, found myself eating dinner later that night. I was like, holy crap, I was on the last episode, and I just watched through all of it. It's crazy, but it is that good, and it gives you a behind-the-scenes look at the 2015 season of East Mississippi football team and its quest to win its 3rd straight National Junior College Athletic Association Championship. Now, if you're like most, you probably really didn't hear about this school too much unless you're in the Southern East. You know, they had guys like Garen Blunt went there. Chad Kelly's the most recent success story. He went there after Clemson and then obviously transferred to Ole Miss and became the quarterback he is right now. But it is very interesting. I'm going to give you a little detailed on it. It's a little review of it. Now, if you haven't seen it, I'm not giving anything away, so don't worry, no spoilers here. But again, it is a football documentary, so it's not like you could always just go look at the stats and see if they win or not. But anyways, like I said, it's 6 hours. Total thing. And it's raw. Completely raw. Great editing, but just everything everybody who put it together just did an amazing job. They let everything you wanted to see in there, and they didn't really leave anything out. It wasn't like, man, I wish we could saw more of that or anything. You saw it all, and it was great. It was great, and it was a little upsetting about some of these players because you're like, man, I wish I could help them change their mindset on certain things and things like that. But again, they did it perfectly. They did it perfectly. Again, it is a JUCO setting that makes the documentary so special. Now, none of the players wanted to be in Scuba. That's where it's Scuba, Mississippi, a town of just over 700 people. And they hope it's just a quick little stop before they could take their talent to the big-time college football Division I ranks. So some of them have interesting stories. DJ Law, the running back who you'll get to see. Division I talent. Bad academics. Very bad. Not saying he's dumb. It's just he skips class. He doesn't go to class. That kind of hurts your grade a little bit. You also had former Florida State quarterback John Franklin III, who wasn't very successful at Florida State, didn't get his time, and he was complaining because he was a big dog on campus in high school, goes to the big-time school, and he thinks he could just step right on in. So he comes to a community college, and you get to see him, and honestly, he's my least favorite. He is my least favorite from just the way he acts. there's a difference, a huge difference, and you'll quickly see which side you're on. So if you haven't seen it yet, I want you to just take this. There's one side of confidence, believing in yourself that you have the talent to go out there and help your team win. And then there's cockiness. And you will see John Franklin III on just one side of the metro, and that is cockiness. He doesn't know how to control his confidence. His ego is huge for someone that it shouldn't be at all. And I don't like him. I do not like it. If I was a college recruiter, I'm not touching him. And you see how it goes throughout the season, how he handles some situations that come his way. And there's some parts, and especially early, you start, really want him to do good. And not saying I don't want him to do good. It's just I just don't like him anymore after watching it. And last but not least, college football news. It shows a difference between the college football on Saturdays and Division I, and how you've seen those other documentaries, other mini shows, and their development from freshmen or even redshirt freshmen to their junior, senior year before they go out. And these JUCO guys, one they're worried about is anybody even watching them, right? The scouting and everything that goes into it. Are they even being watched when they have a good game? It's always in the back of their mind. Also, if they get hurt, it's a very short season. I believe it's only a 10-game season, and then you have 3 rounds of the playoffs, and then that's it. So you have a very limited time to get scouted. So if you get hurt, which a player does, and you'll see that, how does this affect his recruiting? And then where his mindset goes afterwards. Then you also, one of my favorite players, 2 of my favorite are DJ Law and Ronald Ollie, who you'll get to meet, I think, like 2 or 3 episodes in. Very likable, very talented, and very funny. But academic issues and a few other, how he handles some situations when he is giving good advice and how he handles that. But it also comes from, you learn about a horrific family tragedy that's very shocking and very just blunt. They just throw it right at you. And it's revealed midway through the series, and you're just like, whoa, okay, I get it. Wow. And then how you react to that. All 6 episodes of Last Chance U are available on Netflix right now. So again, if you haven't seen it, what have you been doing? And 2, must watch it, but you need to have a strong enough will to not just go through it. You want to maybe watch 1 or 2 episodes first, right? And then skip a day, go back to it. Spread it out. It's probably a lot better. Me, 6 hours straight through. If you want to do that, that's fun too, because it's that good. It keeps drawing you and just keeps like, do you want to continue to watch? Yes. And bam. But I liked it. Out of a 10 scale rating, I will give it an 8.7, just because I feel like there could have been a little bit more stuff in it. But overall, it hit the point, and you're just wishing there were kind of a little bit more. And I don't like one of the cameramen, what he said to DJ Law, which you'll see one of the cameramen actually said something. I was just like, really? Your time to encourage, and you let him go the other way. But anyways, that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to watch it. Tell me what your favorite part of Last Chance U was if you've already seen it. And if you haven't seen it, again, go watch it. So anyways, the University of Florida announced Friday that Steve Spurrier will return to his alma mater as ambassador and consultant to the Gators athletic department. Now, Spurrier had a similar role at South Carolina when he retired in October as head football coach. Now, at 71 years old, he's already scheduled to be honored during the Gators season opener this year with a football field will be renamed for him. This is it, and it's already been joked about because it's so long, but this is what the whole field and stadium name for the Florida Gators. It is the Steve Spurrier Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. That's just too long. Like TCU, Amon G. Carter Stadium. And there's others. I can't think of them. But anyways, that's too long. Steve Spurrier Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Now, I know a lot of people don't say the field name because like TCU, I don't even know the TCU's field name if we have one. Texas State, it's Jim Wacker Field at Bobcat Stadium. That's a little bit quicker, Steve Spurrier Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It's too long. Florida State and West Virginia are close, and I probably have already signed an agreement to open the 2020 season in Atlanta. It would be played September 5th in 2020 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Not Superdome. Stadium is in Atlanta. Now, this will be the fourth meeting between the Seminoles and the Mountaineers. In all previous meetings, FSU has won. The Gator Bowl in 2010, in 2005 they won, and in 1982. Now, they did have a home-and-home series scheduled back in 2012 and 2013, but when West Virginia joined the Big 12, they had to cancel it. And Jimbo Fisher is a West Virginia native, and he recently asked high school coaches in the state of Florida to donate one uniform, including equipment and practice jerseys, to ensure West Virginia high schools damaged by severe flooding could play this fall, which was a very interesting story that I wish I had picked up earlier. Because it happened last month in the West Virginia, where 23 people were killed by the floods, which also caused significant damage to several schools. So great by Jimbo Fisher. Good guy, Jimbo Fisher, looking out. And I'm sure since the state of Florida is so big, there was enough schools to actually help out and give equipment to all West Virginia high schools, which is very good. And I like that. I like that a lot. Last bit of college football news before we move on to the NFL, and it is the NCAA Football Oversight Committee recommended Division I football programs hold only one live contact practice per week. Now, before you start thinking live contact, you're thinking just that straight up hitting. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. They can only hit once? Hold on. The current guidelines, which are not enforceable rules, allow 2 live practices per week. The new guidelines announced Wednesday will take effect this season. Now, live practices, they are defined as those that involve tackling to the ground and full speed blocking. It's basically scrimmage. Boom, going at it, right? We should know what live practices are, but there are some people that just don't. And also, live contact does not include thudding, in which players are not taken to the ground. Now, the Ivy League announced earlier this season that it would eliminate live tackling in practice, and even at the FBS level, teams rarely have live tackling in practice, which, all coaches, if you're around any practice really in college football, you'll hear a lot of them say when they're running some plays and going somewhat full speed, they say, stay up, stay up, stay up. Because, you're going against your teammates, and you're just trying to move around some schemes and scouting teams and whatnot. You're not trying to hurt your teammate. You're not trying to knock them out. You know what I'm saying? So these new guidelines would allow an additional contact practice for players who do not play in a game. So it could help out. Some of these rules, again, are just looking out for the safety. One of my favorite things, though, and I'm sure you've seen it by now, I believe Yale and I think even the Pittsburgh Steelers were working on it, were these motorized, not sleds, little tackling dummies that can go pretty fast. I believe up to like 20 miles per hour. And you have someone control it, coach or an assistant, and players tackle that instead of another teammate. I thought it was really good. You could go full speed. The defensive player can end up hitting that little tackle buddy dummy system, and you can make it work. But it's also pretty expensive. So you won't see any high schools doing it. Maybe not even a whole lot of college schools doing it. But, the NFL could work. Some colleges can. Moving on to the NFL, and actually before we do, let's take a quick break and listen to our sponsor, the InnerGrind, and also support the show on Patreon. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. Now, the Buffalo Bills signed running back Reggie Bush on Monday, adding experience to a pretty uncertain offensive backfield. Now, Bush, who's already 31, is expected to compete with veteran Mike Gillingsley and rookie Jonathan Williams for the backup role behind LaShawn McCoy in training camp. This is what he said.
I work day and night overtime to just get myself back to full strength with the physical therapist, with the team doctors in San Fran. But mostly in the off season, when I went back home, I really put in a lot of overtime, a lot of work, and just my conditioning, and just making sure my knee was back to full strength.
How close are you with Shady at all?
Honestly, not that close at all. But I'm looking forward to developing a relationship with him. I've been a fan for a while, and seeing what he's done over the course of his career, I'm a fan, watching him, what he did in Philly. So I'm excited to get a chance to develop a relationship with him, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to have both of us back there and making some plays.
Now, Carlos Williams, he's showed promise as a rookie, and I was one of my personal favorites as a number 2 running back last season. But he's suspended for the first 4 games of the regular season for a violation of the NFL's substance abuse policy. Now, Jonathan Williams, in no relation to Carlos Williams, he was arrested for a suspicion of DWI earlier this month, although if the 2016 fifth-round pick is suspended, it'll likely not happen until later in the upcoming season or until the 2017 season. Now, Jonathan Williams, he was a guy who was one of my favorites too at the University of Arkansas. Him and Alex Collins were 2 backs that were just, if healthy, very scary. Now, offensive coordinator Greg Roman has already discussed with Bush the possibility of using both him and McCoy at the same time on the field, which could be exciting if, again, both are healthy. And maybe a younger Reggie, this would have been more lethal, more scary. But 31-year-old Reggie Bush, not the same, especially the last couple years we've seen him, even when he has been healthy, has not really been that exciting. Because, again, he's struggled to stay healthy the past 2 seasons. He was released by the Detroit Lions after an injury-plagued 2014 season, which limited him to 297 rushing yards in 9 games. And in his 10 years in the NFL, which is crazy, time is, boom, gone like that. Reggie Bush, I remember him playing as USC. I was one of those kids when I was little. I was playing as a big dog team, USC Reggie Bush. I remember like it was yesterday I was playing NCAA, 05 it was. I remember like it was yesterday playing on the original Xbox. And now look at us. In his entire 10 seasons, he has totaled 5,493 rushing yards and 3,500 receiving yards. He eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards in 2011 with the Miami Dolphins and again in 2013 with the Lions. Now, Bush has also become a candidate to return punts for the Bills. Now, this is where it gets a little, all right, maybe the Bills aren't really thinking that it's 2016 and not 2007. Because while they don't have any of the 3 players that returned punts for the Bills last season, Marcus Thigpen, Demarius Moore, and Letus McKelvin, they're all off they're not even on the roster anymore. So Reggie Bush, you put him back there, and again, like I said, if this was a few years ago, this is pretty exciting. Reggie Bush, LaShawn McCoy, and the same team. Man, that offense would have been Tyrod Taylor, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods out there on receiver. Kobe Listenby, TCU, represent, yeah. His speed, man, you were thinking it's great, but can Reggie Bush produce what his potential used to be? And at 31 years old, does he still have, what is his ceiling, basically? And that's what I'm asking you. So let me know in the comment section where you see Reggie Bush and how he can affect defenses now with the Bills. And do you even see him staying healthy for an entire 16-game season? And plus some if they want to get into the playoffs. Let me know in the comment section. Tweet me at Short Sports Show. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we see that. Odell Beckham Jr., he injured his left leg and said that it was extremely sore on Monday. And he's likely to miss more practice time this week, according to a source. The Giants had their first full pads workout of the summer on Tuesday, and Beckham did not practice, but was out on the side of the field working with his trainer. Now, we've all heard by now, I've been watching, this past weekend I was in Dallas visiting my grandmother, and when we were watching NFL Network, all they were talking about was, Odell Beckham and his injury, and is he going to be healthy, and they're already too much worrying on him. He hurt his leg during Sunday's practice as he became entangled cornerback Janoris Jenkins on a deep pass down the sideline. He limped off the field and eventually left practice, but he called it a minor setback, and he's going to be fine, so relax. At least it's not Stevie Johnson, and my San Diego Chargers are continuing to be plagued right now. Head coach Mike McCord confirmed Stevie Johnson suffered a torn meniscus in his right knee and will require surgery, which could be, and it's one of those things because they related it to, what is the rookie's name in Jacksonville? Jalen Ramsey, who actually had a pick 6 today in practice on 7-on-7, which is pretty cool. He went through the same thing, and he's already healthy. He's back. But there's some that are saying this might actually be worse, and he could be out for a significant amount of time. And for the Chargers, wide receiver-wise, this is not good. This is not good at all. Last year, he missed 6 games because of a hamstring and a groin injuries. He finished with 45 catches for 497 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he hasn't played a full 16-game season since 2012. That's a problem. And that is what the Chargers are going to have to go through again, because will he be ready for September 11th against Kansas City? I don't see it. I don't see it. And with the Chargers knowing that wide receiver core is not the best right now, they might hold him back for later in the season. He was penciled in to serve as a number 3 wide receiver behind Keenan Allen and Travis Benjamin. And again, who knows? Who knows on him? And I hope something happens positive. Now, the Chargers have brought in Lance Moore, James Jones, and Brian Hartline. They worked them out today. And at the time of this recording, I believe they're still working them out. And also, there hasn't been any news on if anybody's going to get signed. And I highly doubt they will sign someone other than Brian Hartline. I think he's the only guy who really has a chance. I would love to have James Jones, a veteran, in there. I think he could bring a lot of good to the Chargers, even with Stevie Johnson if he comes back here soon in the season. But Brian Hartline, James Jones, it's only going to be one. I don't see them bringing in multiple receivers. So we'll have to see. But I am hoping Stevie Johnson gets back healthy very quickly. And if not, James Jones, I hope you're the guy and hope you're ready to go. A receiver that is ready to go but is wanting some money is Houston Texans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. And he says, quote, he wasn't trying to send a message, end quote, with his brief holdout before reporting to first practice of training camp on Monday. In his first public comments since the holdout, Hopkins repeatedly pushed questions regarding his contract status toward his agent and the Houston front office, led by general manager Rick Smith. Quote, they handled that. And also saying, all I do is go out here, play football. I let them do the negotiating, end quote. Now, Hopkins, who's entering his 4th year of his rookie contract, did not report the first practice of Houston's training camp on Sunday. The absence earned him a $40,000 fine. By afternoon, Hopkins said in a statement to ESPN that he would be returning to the team, adding that he was disappointed that the Texans had elected not to enter contract negotiations. Quote, "I wasn't trying to send a message or anything like that. I was doing what I felt was best for me and my family," end quote. And you can't blame him. You can't blame him for this, for doing a little holdout, because I think while he wasn't trying to send a message, he was definitely sending a message. It just got ignored. I would have thought, if I was in general manager position, in the front office position, I would have been like, okay, it is definitely a message. We need to pay this guy. But it looks like right now the Texans are on the upper hand, and I'll tell you why here in just a bit. Now, again, by reporting to practice before Wednesday, Hopkins, while he lost that $40,000, he got that little fine, which I know I say it's little. He is now eligible to collect his $445,004. Don't forget the $4 here. I'm serious. It's $445,004 roster bonus on Thursday. So he lost $40,000. So he's really getting $405,004. I mean, it's still not bad. It's kind of like you're just gambling with a high amount, and you got $400,000 instead of $445,000. Whatever. Anyways, now Hopkins, he deserves a contract. I'm not disagreeing at all. He deserves a contract, a much bigger contract, and this is the time to do it. Now Hopkins, he had 111 catches last season, 1,500 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Now to most, you're thinking, all right, that's a really good season. That's a really good receiver right there. What makes Hopkins even better is he did it while working with 4 other quarterbacks. Ladies and gentlemen, he had Brock Os. He didn't have Brock Os. He had Hoyer, Yates. Who does he have? That's why. That's how good he is. I don't even know who the rest of the quarterbacks were for the Texans, and yet, even though with 4 different quarterbacks, still had a 1,500-yard season, still had double-digit touchdown season, still had over 100 catches in a season. Give the man money. You want to pay Brock Osweiler some crazy, ridiculous, nonsense contract, but you won't give DeAndre Hopkins a big-time contract. That's a problem. That's a problem right there. Now, because the Texans, again, this is where the Texans have the upper hand here. The Texans picked up his 5th-year option on Hopkins' contract in May. He effectively has 2 seasons remaining on the contract, on this current deal. So Smith said Sunday that the team's position was firm and that it would not negotiate with Hopkins this season, adding Monday that he was excited and happy to see Hopkins report to camp. General manager Rick Smith is not going to budge, and it looks like DeAndre Hopkins is going to be stuck with the contract he's got right now. Or maybe he's even hardballing them, saying, all right, well, we're going to entertain the contract, but we're not going to show that we are. So that way maybe you lower your number, and then we'll be, all right, yeah, we can give you that. That's my only thought. I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins deserves it. Let me know if he deserves a contract extension down the bottom in the comment section down below, and tweet me at Short Sports Show. I mean, I don't see why not. That dude is balled out. 4 different quarterbacks, yet still produced what a lot of receivers can in the league with a really good quarterback. That shows you something. Now, the last news before we wrap up the show here, and before joining the CFL, which, people that don't know, the Canadian Football League. As its commissioner last year, Jeffrey Ordridge spent a decade working in the American sports industry. He was an executive with USA Basketball and Reebok Sports Marketing, among other positions. He witnessed the huge growth in professional sports during the 1990s and the 2000s. And now, quite simply, Ordridge wants some of that for the CFL. Now, before we go on to the story, I do want to say I'm a fan of the CFL. My favorite team is the Calgary Stampeders. That is my team. Joffrey Reynolds and Henry Burris, quarterback and running back. At the time, Burris being the quarterback, Joffrey Reynolds as a running back. That was my favorite time right there. They just looked so good, and they won. I got into Canadian Football League, and I was like, that is my team. That's my if you watch highlights of Joffrey Reynolds and Henry Burris, back in that was, oh man, 2010 maybe, 2010. It was a few years ago. Burris is now with the he's with the Red Hawks. Ottawa Red Hawks, I believe. He's with them, and Joffrey Reynolds is retired now. But anyway, and so I'm just saying, I am a CFL fan. I do love the Calgary Mustangs. That is my team, and I follow them. I almost say I can't watch all their games, but I do follow them and I do watch when I can. Now, Ordritz said recently, quote, "We want to be a truly globally recognized league. And that doesn't have to mean playing the Canadian game outside of Canadian soil. What it does mean is marketing, promoting, and exploring it to other parts of the world. The ultimate goal we have is to be globally recognized beyond our borders," end quote. Just more recognition. More recognition and, honestly, a little bit more money. And it's not difficult to understand. Playing basically the exact same game as the NFL, it's kind of tough. The NFL is recognized everywhere, not just in the United States. Now, and especially the NFL, they have pushed annual revenues of past $13 billion. You know what the CFL is doing? About $200 million a year. $200 million to $13 billion. Now, Origins wants to portray the CFL as a fast-paced, innovative league that opens its season during the dead time of the NFL calendar and features more than 50% American players and boasts a fan-friendly emphasis on the passing game that well exceeds the NFL's proportions. And we'll get into that just a bit. Now, ESPN, they do televise. So if you're saying, well, I can't watch it, I never could find it. They do televise 20 games in the United States during the season, this season to be exact, making another 69 available games on ESPN3. So if you ever watch ESPN app on your phone, tablet, you've already heard the commercials 100 times. Just ESPN3. If you have television, you have basic cable, you have ESPN, you have ESPN3. And you can watch the other 69 games, as well as the other 20, on ESPN3. So you have options. You have, if it fits your schedule when they play, if you don't know, look at it. And you can watch the game. And truly, don't go, if you're not a huge fan of the CFL or you can't really watch it, but you want to, just watch it and just don't even think about it, right? Just watch it, watch the game, how it goes. Know some of the little tiny rules. You don't have to learn the whole thing, because I know what it's like when you're trying to learn different sports, trying to know all the rules, and just that's all you're thinking about. Just watch the game and think of it from just watching football. You'll notice that there's only 3 downs. They play with 12 rather than 11. The field is 10 yards longer and 12 yards wider, right? And a pre-snap motion is a lot more than the NFL. The NFL, you can move, and once you get to a certain spot, you got to keep moving your feet, right? But you can't go forward. You just kind of move to the side. In the CFL, the receivers can start about 4 or 5 yards, maybe 6 yards behind the quarterback, and then the quarterback gives them a motion, and then they start running, and they don't stop because then the snaps come in, and then they're already off. So it's pretty interesting. I like it. It doesn't distract me any. Now, if you're if you're a running fan, if you're more of a running guy, I still say give the CFL a chance. But more than 70% of the CFL plays were passes. And if you want to compare that to the NFL had 55% in 2015. Now, CFL games are averaging 51.5 combined points and 643 passing yards per game. The latter is the highest in league history. And to monetize that style, the CFL is tapping into the daily fantasy market via agreement with the DraftKings. So if you're into DraftKings or you're into fantasy football, the CFL, you want a whole lot of points. There you go. Now, is the CFL an American-ready sport set to be consumed more broadly, only if shared more and promoted more strategically? Maybe. I'm a fan of it. I know more northern states are because of the border. And if you haven't given it a chance, or you just say you don't like it and you still haven't given it a chance, and it's your fault. But if you really don't like the CFL and you've given it a true chance, Let me know in the comment section below, because I want to know. And I'm not to argue or disagree or anything. It's just I want to know why you don't like it. That's it. Some people don't like soccer. I don't like soccer, but it's the world sport apparently. So, and Trent Richardson just got waived by the Ravens. Ouch, that sucks. I feel bad. So the NFL, finally, the CFL won't match the NFL's popularity, and that's not what they're trying to do. They're not trying to. When you think of the NFL, they're not saying think of us, right? When you think of the big major sports, you think of Major League Baseball, National Basketball Association, and the NFL. You know, whichever order, that's what you think of. They're not asking for that. All they're asking is when you think of football, think of us too, right? Think of the Canadian Football League. Watch our games, especially because a lot of fans complain that there's no football in the spring and no football, after the NFL. There's the CFL. They purposely put it on right after like I said, the dead part of the NFL calendar, so you can watch it. There's your chance. They don't want to compete with the NFL. They just want a little bit of love. How hard is that? So again, the NFL or the CFL won't match the NFL's popularity, but it certainly has room to grow and to share. Watch the CFL. I'm not even Canadian. I love it. You don't have to be Canadian to love it. I'm just saying. I'm not taking a bias here. Anyways, let me know in the comment section down below who's your favorite team in the CFL if you do have one. And Calgary Stampeders fans, give this a like. Give this a like. And if you don't like the Calgary Stampeders, give it another like. Yeah. Anyways, that is it for today's show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a lot quicker than normal. And again, we will be back next Wednesday. I promise next Wednesday we will be back here on the Short Sports Show. Again, guys, I appreciate your support so very much. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love you all. And thank you guys again for just everything. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.